Hello, everybody. Today we have with us Professor Amol Agrawal. Welcome to the College Dunia portal, sir.
Hi,
So,
thanks for inviting me.
most welcome, sir. Amol Agrawal, sir, is the Assistant Professor of Economics and Public Policy area. He is also the Program Chair for the MA and Economics program. So starting with the first question, my first question to you is that being the Program Chair for the MA and Economics program, how do you strategize about the marketing and administration of the program?
Uh, so the way we go about doing this is that we have a team which looks at the content, what is the overall requirements of the program, which is done by academicians like me, and then we have this admissions office which takes care of the admissions, and also there is another team which looks at the marketing of the program, where we reach out to colleges across the country uh, and uh, uh, educate students about Ahmedabad University and the uniqueness of the way we are approaching the MA in economics program. And and the idea here is that what we also try and do is that uh, we allow students from uh, different streams to apply for the MA program. So in that sense, usually the MA programs are structured in such a way across the country, at least, that only the BA economics students can apply. We think that's a sort of slightly a narrower approach. We allow people with undergraduate degrees to apply as long as they're interested in economics. So and then there is this whole uh, machinery at the background which works in reaching out to students and so on and so forth. Obviously, the pandemic has made things a little difficult, but I think that applies to all of us in all our industries. So one is trying to cope up with the times.
Right, sir. So moving to the next question, the education systems in India and other foreign countries are structured very differently. In your experience, what can be an inbound student gain from the students studying here at the university?
Yeah, so that's an interesting question, given the fact that the pandemic has really led to a lot of focus on education and how the whether the right kind of education is being imparted onto students. And obviously in India, it's seen that uh, whether it's the school children or whether it's the children at college, uh, students in class 5 cannot read stuff at class 1 levels. Likewise, students in second, third years might not remember what is being taught in the previous years. So, whereas in the West, some of these things have been done in the right way, in the sense that they make learning more experiential, more experimental, and not really, the approach we have here of mugging up and giving exams. So I think the way to this pandemic is a wake-up call for the education industry. And in the West, I think the problems have been of very high fee and so on and so forth, which is also going to come under a question mark. In India, the fees are not that high compared to the West, but uh, we can surely learn from the way they approach education in a more holistic manner compared to us, where we've made a very silo sort of an approach, where an engineer only learns about engineering, an economic student only knows about economics. I mean, an economic student can also be interested in painting, can be also be interested in music. Likewise, somebody in engineering can also be interested in social sciences. But somehow we have our university systems have developed in such a way that one who goes into a dedicated area ends up only knowing about that area. Hopefully, even that is hopefully, because somehow the way it's structured, uh, it's not really. It's not. It does not really lead to the kind of development one would like to have.
Absolutely, sir. So, on that note, my next question would be that how does the curriculum of Ahmedabad University ensure the best practice of the industry?
Yeah, so at Ahmedabad University, firstly, it's a young university. Uh, we are in that position to sort of experiment and to find out what is working and what is not working, which may not be there for some of these more older universities and institutions. So at an undergraduate level, what we've done is that we allow the foundation program. There's a thing called foundation program where you could be from any discipline. You could be an engineering student, you could be a commerce student, you could be a economics student, you could be a sociology or a psychology student. All of the students have to take this foundation program, which is broadly based on four pillars: democracy and justice, water, neighborhood, and and environment and sustainability. So all the students are supposed to take these foundation courses. So which means that students who come to Ahmedabad University, they learn about things which matter. I mean, that whole ecosystem, the local environment around you. You begin to understand things. So an engineering student also learns about democracy and justice. Same thing with and in that process, students get to know each other. It's not just the case that you have a silo-based approach that you don't know engineering students or you don't know commerce students and so on and so forth. And then whether it's the BA program or it's the MBA program or it's the MA economics program, all the programs are done in such a way that there is project-based learning. So, for instance, the MA economics program, typically most MA economics programs are all about going to class, taking classes, and giving exams. Whereas we have an internship component, which means that it's mandatory for students to go for a summer internship, and which is a credit-based requirement. So it's not that you just do an internship for the sake of doing it. There's a proper evaluation, and we pay a lot of attention to the fact that what is it that you have learned in this university? How is it that you want to apply outside? I mean, that's where students get a sense that how economic data is used, how financial data is used, and they begin to grapple with some of these things. Whereas in the final year, students are supposed to do a dissertation, which again is practice oriented in the sense that you apply yourself, whatever you've learned in the 2 years and whatever you've learned in your internship. You kind of write a report which is academic. At the same time, it is oriented towards industry, and in that process, we are trying to make the learning in such a way that there is an industry sort of an interface all the way. And likewise, our MBA students and the undergraduate students are always supposed to be doing projects with the industry and so on and so forth. So in that sense, we are trying to push our students in the university to taking and learning from the industry as well.
Right, sir. Very well said. Moving on, what do you think your roles and responsibilities as a program chair to the university and the students are?
Oh, that's it's a lot of work in the sense that you have to keep a tab on what students are doing, what kind of credits they're taking, and trying to nudge them, trying to find their interests, and then being aware of what kind of courses are being offered in the university, and nudging that student into taking those electives based on the student's interest.
Right.
So that's a sort of a tough ask where you have to figure out first what the students want to do, and then you have to channelize the students towards some of these things towards the right, so that they make informed decisions. As far as the university is concerned, obviously the university is backing on us to find out how the program is doing, whether there are any sort of issues, and how can we improve the program based on inputs from the students, inputs from faculty members, and so on and so forth. So it's like the economics program, there's the demand and supply at work, and so what are the students demanding, what are the faculty supplying, and you as a program chair have to understand this and explain that to both the students and also to the university.
All right. Thank you for the lovely response, sir. My next question would be that what do you think should be the university's top priority over the next 10 years?
Oh, I must also mention that Ahmedabad University recently, the government came up with the new education policy, and in which it has spoken about several things, and it's very interesting that Ahmedabad University is already doing some of those things. We started that as an experiment, but it is very interesting that this is gone on to become some sort of a policy where the government is also wanting an interdisciplinary learning. So I think interdisciplinary learning, as I just said, the foundation program, and you asked questions about the industry interface. Interdisciplinary learning is very, very important because the world is changing very rapidly. We learned this in the current pandemic that it is just not enough to just have doctors and so on and so forth. You also need managers. You also need people who understand healthcare industry and should be what I think in the next 10 years and so on and so forth, we need to firstly focus on the pressing problems the world is facing, push our attention, like for instance, climate change is going to be is being talked about. It could be a major risk going forward. And climate change is a very interdisciplinary topic. It involves several disciplines coming together. The universities, have to. So there are a couple of things. One is that firstly you have to train students so that they are able to do something. I think where our universities lack is the fact that they do all these they do all this BA, MA, and MBA and so on and so forth, but they are not employable. And that's been a big concern. So somehow you have to impart those skills. And that's where all this project-based learning, if students do it seriously. So that's another problem that as universities, we the final product or a good product is only going to come when both the faculties and the students are working together. If the universities have a great program but the students are unable to do it or are not willing to do it, then it's the results are not going to be there. So this is unlike a product where you design a good product, it goes out in the market. So you design a good product, it goes out in the market and people appreciate and so on and so forth. But here students have to really respond well to this interdisciplinary learning, and parents have to wake up to the fact that how education is changing, and in that process, help your children go into areas which they like to do. The Three Idiots philosophy of even if you are cutting the grass, even if you like to cut the grass, you should do that because it's something which you like to do. And even if the society doesn't value it, big deal. I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of things society only realizes when you excel in a particular thing, and then they see a profession out of it. For a long time, nobody imagined that you could have chef as a profession, but it has developed as a profession. I mean, you see so many of these contests going on. So I think this is like an education system is like an ecosystem. I mean, there are several players at work. There are these educationists like us, the universities. There are these students, and there are these parents. I mean, collectively, we have to somehow shape the education and make it more learning based. And the big thing here is that whatever you do, you should be able to do something out of it. I mean, there's no point in spending time studying so much and yet not knowing what to do. So somehow the system should nudge students into their likes and dislikes, and within the likes you must try and develop some sort of a skill set so that you could be employable, or you could create employment on your own. I mean, that's another very important component, that in the last 20-25 years we've gone into a direction where increasingly we are seeking jobs and we are not creating jobs. I mean, we should develop our programs in such a way that somebody can simply work on his or her own. I mean, why do you really need to, if you have the skill set, and with the pandemic telling us the usefulness of the digital technology, I know there are limitations as well, but it somehow allows a lot of enterprise, a lot of other ideas which can be put in, and but I think the concern really is that we are the collective education system is not really imparting the skill sets to students that they can start something on their own. So some of
Right,
those,
sir.
some of those things can be done.
I completely agree with you, sir. Right. So, without taking more of your time, I'll directly jump to the last question now.
Sure.
And that is, what are the few suggestions or advices that you would like to give the current youth or the aspiring students?
No, I mean, that is a very simple thing, that do what you like to do is, and try and focus on the areas which you like to focus on. And just like I said, I mean, who could have imagined a cricket commentator's job becoming such an important one today? And you have all these people who've neither played cricket and are good at. I mean, they understand the game, and they are simply just interested in speaking about the game. And now you're seeing all these opportunities which are there now. One thing is that this person could have just stayed away and not really focused on your areas of liking, areas of interest, and in that process you end up taking something which you don't like, and in that process, if you don't like something, you never want to excel in it. You're simply treating it as a job. So I think, for me, you should do things which you like, because that's what pushes you into that area. And also, when you like something, you also want to learn. I mean, all these guys who excel, if you ask, I mean, who are these leaders in whatever discipline they are in, you can find out very quickly whether they like the profession they are in, because they're always looking to learn. We think them as these leaders, whether it's a Kohli or a Tendulkar or a football player. I mean, since we are in India, so we look a lot at cricket rather than other sports. But whether it's Nadal, or I mean, it's exceptional that and they're always looking to learn, because they like that field so much, and they always see scope of improvement. So right. I think only when you facilitate that kind of an environment where there is some inquiry in the mind, even if you're a business person, even if you want to do business, that business of future is only going to be that it's not just about the fact that, okay, this is my business, I'm established, I'm settled, and I don't need to bother about it. No, that's completely a wrong way to do it. You need to be always thinking about the future, about what new things can you bring into your business, what new practice can you bring into your business, and that's what is exciting, and that's what keeps you going. Otherwise, it becomes very mundane, and most of us are stuck in mundane jobs and mundane businesses, and which makes things so students should realize it right now, before they join something, that pick an area which you like. Ignore what others have to say, in the sense that you will always get nahi, isme, this is not something you should do, this is not something you should do, but you should hear yourself. If you like to do that particular thing, just go into it and try and excel in it.
The process of learning should never end.
Absolutely. I mean, and that is only possible when you are interested in it. If you're not interested in it, then you're not, never going to be learning, and Absolutely. It's never going to be exciting.
Right. All right, sir. So on that note, I'd like to conclude the interview. That was a very intellectual one, and I hope our audience is also going to find that pretty informative.
Hope so.
Yeah. So that was Professor Amol Agrawal, Program Chair of MA and Economics program at Amrut Modi School of Management, Ahmedabad University. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thanks.